Welcome to Language Swap, everyone, a fun way to learn English. We are so excited to have you join us today.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sally. And today's episode might actually break the format a little because we're not talking about books.
We're talking about TED Talks, 18 minutes or less, one big idea. And somehow some of these things have been watched more times than most movies ever get streamed.
Which, by the way, Alex has a personal ranking system for TED Talks. It's color-coded.
It's organized, there's a difference.
It's a spreadsheet, Alex.
It's a well-maintained spreadsheet anyway. Today, each of us brings 2 talks to the table, 4 total, and we're going to break down the big idea, the moment that made it go viral, and a phrase you'll actually use this week.
And I want to set expectations up front. We're not just picking the most viewed ones. We're picking the ones that genuinely changed how we think or that started a fight in the research world. Some of these are more controversial than you'd expect.
Controversial. Quick flag for you. It just means something causes serious disagreement. People take real sides on it. You'd say that coach's decision was controversial, half the fans loved it, half wanted him fired. It's not necessarily bad. It just means people are arguing.
And one of today's picks is a perfect example because the talk became massive and then the actual science behind it kind of fell apart.
Small spoiler. Okay, let's set it up properly first. So why do TED Talks even work this well?
You always have a theory.
My theory, 18 minutes is the exact length where your brain hasn't checked out yet, but the speaker can't ramble. It's long enough for one real idea, too short to pad it.
Okay, that tracks. TED actually sets that limit on purpose. It's based on attention research, not just a random number.
That tracks. Quick one for you. It means that makes sense. It's consistent with what you'd expect. She trains every single morning that her marathon time keeps dropping tracks. Casual, a little dry, very common.
And it tracks here because the format forces discipline. No rambling, no filler. You've got 18 minutes to land one idea hard.
Right? And that's basically why some of these talks have been watched 50, 60, even 70 million times. Tiny format, massive reach.
Okay, first pick, Alex, you're up.
All right, my first pick, and I'll just say it, this might be the most rewatched thing I've ever shown people.
The most rewatched thing?
Well, maybe top 3.
That's 1. I'm counting today.
Fair enough. Tim Urban, Inside the Mind of a Master Procrastinator. Funny title. But it's actually one of the sharpest psychology talks out there.
Fair enough. Another great everyday phrase. It means I accept that. I can't really argue with it. You'll use this constantly, especially when someone calls you out and they're not wrong.
And fair enough on the counting thing too. So, Tim Urban, he's a writer, runs a blog called Wait But Why, and this talk has somewhere around 50 million views.
And the whole thing is built around this one metaphor.
Exactly. He says there are 2 characters running your brain. The rational decision maker, who actually wants to do the productive thing, and the instant gratification monkey, who only wants easy and fun right now.
So the monkey takes the wheel.
Constantly, he describes opening a Wikipedia page for some random 80s scandal instead of writing his thesis. The monkey doesn't care about deadlines. It doesn't even understand the concept of later.
Okay. But everyone procrastinates a little. What makes this different from just being lazy?
That's the key distinction. He's not saying you're lazy. He's saying the monkey wins because short-term comfort always feels louder than long-term benefit. And here's the part that got me. There's a place he calls the dark playground.
The dark playground?
Where you do fun stuff at the wrong time, scrolling when you should be working, and it's not even enjoyable because guilt is sitting right next to it the whole time.
That's uncomfortably accurate.
It is, and the only thing that gets you out of the dark playground is what he calls the panic monster.
Which shows up when?
Right before the deadline, or right before public embarrassment. The panic monster is the one thing the monkey is actually scared of.
So deadline-driven procrastination kind of fixes itself.
Eventually, yeah, panic forces the rational brain back in charge. But here's the twist that makes this talk smarter than just procrastination is bad. He says there's a second, way more dangerous type.
Which is?
Procrastinating on stuff with no deadline. Things like exercise, or calling your parents more, or finally starting that business. There's no panic monster coming to save you because there's no due date.
Wait, that's actually kind of dark for a comedy talk.
It gets darker. He ends with this image he calls the life calendar, a grid, one box for every week of a 90-year life.
How many boxes is that?
Around 4,600, and most people watching have already used up a huge chunk of them.
Okay, that hit different.
Hit different. For anyone who hasn't heard this one, it means something affected you in a way that was more powerful than expected. That talk hit different once I actually counted my own boxes. You'll hear this everywhere.
And the point of the whole talk isn't really about procrastination at all, is it?
No, it's about noticing what you're avoiding specifically because nobody's forcing a deadline on it, and starting anyway.
That's a genuinely good talk for something with stick figures in it.
The stick figures are doing heavy lifting, Sally. And here's a detail I love. After the talk went viral, Urban got flooded with emails from people who related way too hard.
Define too hard.
Like people writing in describing their exact monkey and their exact dark playground in specific detail. And reading those is actually what made him realize the long-term procrastination thing was the real danger, not the deadline kind.
Because the deadline kind basically fixes itself eventually.
Right, short-term procrastination is annoying but self-correcting. You panic, you finish, life moves on. It's the stuff with no deadline that just quietly accumulates for years.
That's the scarier version for sure. Okay, last question on this one. Does he actually give you a fix, or does he just describe the problem really well?
Honestly, the fix is light. It's more notice this pattern than here's your 5-step system, but sometimes naming the pattern is most of the work anyway.
Fair. Awareness as step 1.
Okay, your turn. What's pick number 2?
Full disclosure, this one's going to get a little messy because the talk is iconic, but the research underneath it kind of imploded.
Now I'm interested. Which one?
Amy Cuddy, your body language may shape who you are. Power posing. One of the most watched talks ever, over 65 million views.
I remember this. Stand like Wonder Woman before a job interview.
That's the headline version. Yeah. Core claim, if you hold an expansive, confident posture for 2 minutes, your body actually changes your hormones. Testosterone goes up, cortisol goes down, and you genuinely feel more powerful.
So fake it till you make it, but with science behind it.
That was the pitch, and it was incredibly compelling. The original 2010 study found exactly that. People who power posed felt more powerful and took more risks afterward.
Okay, so what's the messy part?
The replication crisis happened. Other researchers tried to run the same experiment, bigger sample sizes, more rigor, and the hormone effects basically vanished.
Wait, the testosterone and cortisol stuff just didn't hold up?
Mostly not. One of the original co-authors on the study, Dana Carney, eventually came out and said she no longer believed the effect was real at all.
That's brutal, disowning your own famous study.
It is. But here's the part I actually find interesting. Cuddy didn't fully back down either. She kept doing follow-up research and argued the psychological piece still held up, even if the hormone piece didn't.
Meaning what exactly?
Meaning people who power pose still report feeling more confident, even if we can't prove their cortisol dropped. The subjective experience seems to be real. The biology claim was the part that fell apart.
So the talk oversold the science part, but the actual advice, stand tall before something stressful, might still be fine?
That's basically where most researchers landed, which is a more boring conclusion than this changes your biology in 2 minutes, but it's the honest one.
Okay, that's a stretch from what the talk actually claimed, though.
That's a stretch, useful one. It means something's exaggerating a bit, going further than the evidence supports. Calling this place the best restaurant in the city is a stretch. It's good, not legendary. You'll use this a lot when someone overclaims.
And the talk genuinely did overclaim. She straight up said this can significantly change the outcomes of your life.
She did. And that line is exactly why this became one of the most famous case studies in the whole replication crisis. Psychologists use Cuddy's talk in classes now as an example of how a good story can outrun the actual data.
So what do you do with that? Just throw the whole talk out.
No! And that's my actual take. The performance lesson still holds. Standing tall, taking up space, not shrinking yourself before something stressful, that's reasonable advice on its own. Hormones are not. You don't need the biology to be true for the behavior tip to help.
Fair. Confidence as a posture thing makes sense even without the testosterone story attached.
Exactly. Just don't expect your hormones to rearrange themselves in 2 minutes.
Before round two, can we talk about what connects these first two talks? Because I'm noticing something.
Go ahead. What are you seeing?
Both of them are about the gap between what you know and what you actually do. Urban's talk is, I know I should work, but the monkey wins. Cuddy's is, I know I should feel confident, but my body needs convincing first.
Huh. Yeah, they're both about getting your behavior to catch up with your intentions.
Right, and almost every self-help idea boils down to that exact gap somehow.
Which is honestly the hardest gap there is. Knowing isn't the bottleneck. Doing is.
And it's funny because both speakers are basically selling the same fix in different packaging. Small, repeatable actions beat one big motivational push every time.
Round 2. Then, what's your second pick?
A classic, Simon Sinek, How Great Leaders Inspire Action, the Golden Circle one.
Oh, I know this one. Start with why.
That's the whole talk in 3 words, but let's actually unpack it. Sinek's model has 3 rings: what you do on the outside, how you do it in the middle, and why you do it dead center.
And his argument is most companies talk about it backward.
Exactly. Most businesses lead with what? We make great products. They're well designed. Want to buy one? Functional, but it doesn't move anybody.
So what's the alternative?
Start from the center and work outward. Why first? His go-to example is Apple. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We just happen to make computers. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Okay, that's a pretty clean reframe. But isn't why kind of vague for an actual business strategy?
That's the fair criticism, and people raise it a lot. The talk is light on actual execution steps. It's more of a mindset shift than a how-to guide. Some critics say it's inspiring, but thin on the how do I actually find my why part.
So it's a great hook with a weaker follow-through.
Pretty much, yeah. But the framework itself stuck for a reason. It explains why some brands build genuine loyalty and others just compete on price forever.
Give me a real-world version of this, not the Apple one. Everyone uses Apple.
Okay, think about 2 coaches recruiting for the same sport. One says, we have the best facilities, the best record, the best gear. The other says, we believe every kid deserves to be pushed to find out what they're actually capable of. Same sport, wildly different pull.
Yeah, the second one's the one I'd want my kid playing for.
That's the why doing its job. And his other big example is the Wright brothers. They had way less funding and way less of a team than their main competitor at the time, who was famous, well-funded, and connected. But the Wright brothers actually believed they could change the course of history. The competitor was mostly in it for money and fame.
And the believers won.
They won. Sinek's point is the why creates the kind of commitment that money alone can't buy. People work harder, stay longer, and recruit better talent when they actually believe in the reason behind the work.
Okay, but I'll push back slightly. Isn't it possible to have a great why and still build a company nobody wants?
Sure, a clear why doesn't replace a good product. It's not a substitute for execution. It's more like a multiplier. Same effort, same skill, but people commit harder when there's an actual reason behind it.
That's a fairer version of the claim than just find your why and everything works out.
Right, and that nuance is exactly what gets lost when people turn this into a motivational poster instead of an actual framework. The original talk is more careful than the meme version of it.
That happens to almost every idea that goes viral, honestly. The talk gets simplified until only the catchiest line survives.
Once you know your why, the how and the what basically organize themselves around it.
My second pick is a complete shift in tone from everything else today. Less framework, more raw.
Okay, now I'm curious. Which one?
Brene Brown, The Power of Vulnerability, one of the most viewed talks of all time and honestly one of the most personal.
I've heard the name everywhere but never actually sat through it.
She's a researcher who studies shame and connection, and the talk basically tells the story of her own research breaking her professionally and personally.
Breaking her how?
She spent years interviewing people about connection, expecting to find some clean formula. What she actually found is that the people who feel the most loved and connected are the ones who are willing to be fully seen, including the embarrassing, uncertain, not having it together parts.
So vulnerability isn't weakness. It's basically the price of entry for real connection.
That's her whole argument. And it wrecked her. Because as a researcher, she wanted to study vulnerability from a safe distance. Instead, she realized she had to actually live it to understand it.
That's a pretty vulnerable thing to admit in front of a packed theater, ironically.
Right, and that's part of why the talk works so well. She's demonstrating the exact thing she's talking about, live in real time. She even talks about having what she calls a breakdown right before going on stage.
Wait, she almost didn't do the talk?
She says she nearly canceled the night before, which, again, incredibly on theme for a talk about people-pleasing and the fear of being truly seen.
Okay, that's almost too perfect. Did people push back on any of it, though? It sounds very feel-good.
Some critics do say her work leans more storytelling than hard science compared to something like Kahneman's research, since a lot of it comes from qualitative interviews rather than controlled experiments. But nobody really disputes that the message resonated. It's been viewed over 60 million times for a reason.
So less proven science, more extremely well-supported pattern.
That's a fair way to put it, and honestly, for a topic like shame and connection, qualitative depth might matter more than a clean, controlled trial anyway.
You lost me a little with qualitative.
You lost me. Good one to flag. It means I didn't follow. Please explain again. Wait, you lost me? What's the difference between the two systems again? Totally normal thing to say mid-conversation. Nobody thinks less of you for using it.
Fair. So, qualitative meaning?
Meaning she's analyzing interviews and stories rather than running lab experiments with hard numbers, less measurable but often closer to how people actually live.
Got it. And the actual takeaway from the talk?
That the things we do to numb vulnerability, perfectionism, staying busy, certainty about everything, also numb joy and connection. You can't selectively numb. It all goes down together.
That's genuinely a little haunting.
It is, and the fix she offers isn't complicated. Let yourself be seen. Love with your whole heart, even with no guarantee. Practice gratitude instead of waiting to feel grateful.
Okay, give me a non-abstract version of this. What does letting yourself be seen actually look like on a random Tuesday?
Something as small as admitting you don't know the answer in a meeting instead of bluffing through it, or telling a friend you're struggling instead of saying, "I'm fine" for the 10th time.
Huh. That's a lot less dramatic than I expected and somehow harder.
That's the whole point. It's not one big leap. It's 100 tiny moments where you could perform certainty and choose not to.
Okay, real talk out of all four, which one actually changed something for you personally?
Honestly, Cuddy's, weirdly, not because the science held up, but because realizing the science didn't hold up taught me to actually check sources instead of just believing a confident TED Talk.
That's a very meta answer.
I contain layers, Alex.
For me, it's Urban's The Life Calendar thing actually got me to call my dad more, which sounds small, but it wasn't nothing.
That's actually sweet. Don't ruin it.
I won't. Actually, confession time. Remember my color-coded spreadsheet comment at the top?
The one where you called me out in the first 30 seconds?
That one, I went and checked my own notes app before this episode. 43 open tabs of TED Talks I plan to watch eventually.
Wait, so you're the monkey and the rational decision maker right now?
I contain multitudes, Sally.
I knew the spreadsheet joke would come back around eventually.
Fine, you win this one. Okay, word tour 6 expressions from today. Write them down.
Number 1, controversial, causes serious disagreement. People take real sides. The referee's call was controversial. Half the stadium booed, half cheered.
Number 2, that tracks. Makes sense. Consistent with what you'd expect. She's been studying nonstop that she aced the exam tracks.
Number 3, fair enough, I accept that. Can't argue with it. Fair enough, I probably should have called first.
Number 4, hit different. Affected you more powerfully than expected. That song hit different after the breakup.
Number 5, that's a stretch, a bit of an exaggeration, going further than the evidence supports. Calling him the greatest of all time after one good season is a stretch.
And number 6, you lost me. I didn't follow. Explain again. You lost me at the 3rd step. Can you go back?
6 expressions. Say each one out loud at least once this week. Bonus points if you use that's a stretch on someone who's exaggerating.
Before we close, listener question. They wrote, I watch tons of TED Talks, but I forget the content within a week. Am I doing something wrong?
Honestly, no. That's normal, and there's a real reason for it.
Which is?
Passive watching doesn't build memory the way active engagement does. You're consuming, not processing. If you actually want to retain something, try explaining the idea out loud to someone else right after, even just for 30 seconds.
Teaching it locks it in.
Exactly. Or write down the one sentence that's the actual point, not the whole talk. Urbans would be, notice what you're avoiding when there's no deadline forcing you to.
One sentence per talk, that's actually doable, unlike trying to remember the whole 18 minutes.
Right? And you can build a little collection over time. A few months of one-sentence takeaways is genuinely more useful than 50 half-remembered talks.
That's a genuinely useful habit, actually.
Drop your own one-sentence summaries in the comments. We'll read them.
Phrase of the day, and this one ties all 4 talks together, honestly.
Let's hear it.
Don't just talk the talk.
What's it mean?
Saying the right things isn't the same as actually doing them. He talks a big game about discipline, but does he walk the walk? Usually paired with its other half, walk the walk, meaning actually following through with action.
So talk the talk is words, walk the walk is action, and the full version calls out the gap between the two.
Exactly. Anyone can talk the talk, way fewer people walk the walk.
And every single talk today touched this. Urban, stop talking about your goals, start working on them. Cuddy, the posture has to actually change behavior, not just feelings. Sinek, your why means nothing if your actions don't reflect it. Brown, vulnerability has to be lived, not just described.
One consistent theme, the gap between knowing and doing, 4 different ways.
That might genuinely be the theme of every good TED Talk ever made.
That might be the actual cheat code.
Okay, one last thing before we go.
Wait, I want to bring something up. Remember when I said this might be the most rewatched thing I've ever shown people?
You were exaggerating a little.
I was exaggerating a lot, but it's still in my top 5, and that's not nothing.
And that, listeners, is Alex negotiating with himself in real time.
In real time, happening right now live, no delay. We watched the whole thing fall apart in real time, and Sally, in real time, you're enjoying this way too much.
I really am. That's a wrap on this episode. So glad you were here.
If it's your first time, welcome. Thanks for tuning in.
Next week, something practical you can use literally today.
Big promise, stick around, and between now and then, pick one talk, just one. Watch it again with actual focus.
Keep learning and keep growing.
Peace, everybody.